Good morning and welcome to Farmington's State of the City Address for 2021. My name is Mark Loftus. I am currently serving as the interim president for the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce. It's nice to be back in Farmington where I worked for 7 years while I was at Dakota Electric, so it's good to see some familiar faces and places. It's great to have all of you here today. We know we're watching this live on YouTube and Facebook and also on the city's Community Access channel. For those of you who are new to the Chamber, welcome. For those of you who are longtime members, thank you for your continued investment and participation and support. We are committed to business and community strength throughout Dakota County. Before we begin today, I'd like to take a moment to recognize public officials who are in the room here with us today. First of all, from the Minnesota Legislature, Senate District 58, Senator Zach Duckworth is here. From the Dakota County Board of Commissioners, Mike Slavic is here. From District 1, serving the Farmington and South Dakota County area. From the Farmington City Council, we have several members. Councilmember Steve Wilson is here. Councilmember Katie Porter, Councilmember Joy Pearson, and Councilmember Katie Bernjelm, who is a new member, also, besides being on City Council, is a new member of the Dakota County Chamber Board of Directors. So happy to have her involved in our chamber. From the Farmington Schools, we have two representatives, School Board Chair Melissa Sauer and Superintendent Jason Berg are here. And from the Metropolitan Council, Wendy Wolf is here. The Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce is a dynamic network of businesses and individuals organized to deliver opportunity for our members. We steadfastly serve cities and townships throughout Dakota County, including Farmington. We work steadfastly with the business community on advocating for public policy, providing professional networking and development opportunities, and encouraging development. We're in the process of updating our strategic plan, which will increase our digital communications and access this year. We're also working on new initiatives to help business leaders with support and networking, as well as workforce development, transportation, and economic development. During the past year, if you're a member of the Chamber and have been following our activities, you will note that we have had a lot of online, virtual, live programming. And of course, that's very successful, but we'd rather be in person. So we just had our first event, a live in-person event on April 9th, our annual Women's Leadership Forum. That was a great event. Look for more online presence in the future as that becomes more possible. So we really appreciate the city organizing this event today for the state of the city. And it helps foster relationships with the business community, with the school district, and many others. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the U.S. House of Representatives member from this area, from District 2, serving this area in Congress, Representative Angie Craig. Representative Craig was first elected in 2018, began serving in January of 2019, and was re-elected in 2020. Representative Craig serves on several committees that are of strong interest to this part of Minnesota. She's on the Small Business Committee, Transportation and Infrastructure, and Agriculture. These are all topics that are of vital interest to this area. I first met her when she was a corporate executive in human resources at St. Jude Medical. So I'm happy to see her here today and to welcome her and introduce to you Representative Angie Craig. Angie?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's so good to be with you here today. And I want to say especially Zach, again, congratulations. I called Zach to congratulate him after his win and service to our community. Congratulations again. Mike, it's great to see you here. And I'm really honored to be here. I've got the distinct pleasure of saying a few words, but then also introducing the Farmington mayor. So before we begin with that, though, I'd just like to express my gratitude to the entire City Council for your service and for inviting me to be here with you today. City Council members Bernhelm, Porter, Wilson, and Pearson, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate. I also want to give a shout out to the city administrator David McKnight for his service. We built a strong partnership in this community and in many of the communities around Dakota County and around the 2nd Congressional District. Before I introduce him, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Josh Hoyt. Josh has become a great ally in service to Dakota County and Farmington. He moderated my town hall this week, which is always fun because when I walked in tonight, I said, I told you I'd get it from the left and the right. So it did not disappoint. So that's the life of a member of Congress from the 2nd Congressional District. I also just want to say before I make my remarks about Congress and what we're doing there from a local perspective, that Josh, I promise you that I am also working on lumber prices. So as I was driving through Lakeville and Farmington this morning, I appreciated that that was probably a really big deal to you and to those of you in this community. So that's something that is kind of adjunct, but we've asked the administration to look into the root causes of the dramatic rise in price of lumber prices. So you get to see what members of Congress really get to do. So a couple of things. Number one, I just want you to know how proud I am to represent this district. Mark, thank you for that kind introduction. It is just a diverse congressional district, and that's why I serve on the House Committee on Agriculture. That's why in the last Congress I served on TNI. And why in both Congresses I serve on the House Committee on Small Business, because we know, especially during the pandemic, just how important that work has been. So earlier this year, my colleagues and I, we passed the American Rescue Plan. That was an ambitious recovery package. Obviously, in the last couple of years, we worked with the previous administration to pass some relief bills too, but one of the most important aspects of the American Rescue Plan to me was that the dollars that were going to Dakota County, the dollars that were coming to Farmington, not get caught up in St. Paul politics this time. It was really important to me that those dollars come directly to our local communities. And I subscribe to the belief that if the federal government is appropriating dollars, you know best how to spend that money, whether it's a grant program for your local businesses, at the school district level, you know best what you need the most. And so, again, a priority in the latest bill for me was, one, comes directly to our local communities, and number two, that you have more flexibility, like replacing lost revenue in this plan. No offense, Zach, about keeping it out of St. Paul, but you can talk to me about that later. But by enacting this American Rescue Plan, we thought this was the best way to get our economy running just as quickly as possible. Another one of my key priorities was to make sure that we got money to the schools to be able to safely reopen. And I'm so pleased that so many of our schools are back to full time. My youngest son, we have 4 boys, in case you hadn't read the bio, which means about 20 years ago, we were really, really busy in my house. And today, we're just busy watching them grow and prosper and make mistakes like every young man in America makes every once in a while. But our 18-year-old, Isaac, is a senior at Rosemount High School right now, so he's just about to graduate. We wanted to get that $130 billion to our K-12 education system. I'm really pleased, too, that we put together the Paycheck Protection Program. It is not perfect. I'm on the Oversight Committee of the House Committee on Small Business, and we helped draft the original Paycheck Protection Program. In a perfect world, we would have had additional oversight. It would have taken, more checks before people got those loans, but that also would have slowed the program down. And for those of you who are small business owners, I know that it was a really important program, and then to remain flexible, to keep coming back and improve that program has been a really, really important part to me. And then finally, the most important thing that we can do right now is get vaccines in the arms of Minnesotans, because that's how we get back to normal just as quickly as possible. I'm concerned we've got a 6.6% positivity rate. A lot of that positivity right now is within the younger population as these variants B117 and others, the UK variant, spread throughout our communities. It's something that we all need to continue to pay attention to. I'm now on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and I'm telling you this because it's an exclusive committee in the Congress where I get to work on health care. I'm one of those members of Congress. I spent 22 years working in 2 healthcare manufacturing companies, and Mark mentioned that I was the head of HR. I was for 4 of the 18 years that I worked at 2 companies. Prior to that, I had responsibility for health policy, for reimbursement, for working with the Food and Drug Administration, and so it's really exciting to me to now be on Energy and Commerce, which has jurisdiction over healthcare in the United States. So looking to reduce the cost of healthcare, reduce the cost of prescription drugs. So Josh, I just want you to know, whatever you need, we're going to fix America's crumbling roads and bridges. We're going to put forward an infrastructure bill. And some of you are not going to like how we pay for it. I heard the president last night talk about 50 companies, American companies, who pay 0% in taxes in this country. And the question is, do you pay 0% taxes? Because in my mind, that's not fair. They're not paying their fair share. The 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, it didn't close the loopholes that they're still running trucks through. So I think it's going to be really important because these are going to create local jobs. And to me, that's what it's all about. Let's create local jobs in America that cannot be outsourced. Let's build the middle class up in this country. Let's build our economy from the bottom up, from the middle up. Let's do that. So I am just so pleased to be here. Josh, it's such an honor. And a couple things as I introduce you that I want to add. Sort of a personal prerogative here. Obviously, Josh is a longtime Farmington resident. He's a local business owner, a Marine Corps veteran, and was elected, I was teasing him the other night, by write-in ballot to the city council. That was an amazing feat on your part. And then, of course, after one term, to be elected to the role of mayor of this great growing city. This is tough. What you're doing here is tough. I joined St. Jude Medical when it was about $1 billion in revenue, which seemed big, right? But over the course of the next 12 years, we built it to $6 billion. And so my point to you is this: the decisions you're going to make here about where you grow and how that changes the culture of a community, to me reflects the challenges that we had growing a business as well. Josh represents the city on a variety of boards and organizations in Dakota County, but I wanted to let you know this morning, Josh, that your work on suicide prevention for veterans, and I know this is so personal to you, is so meaningful to me. We have been working very closely on mental health and illness with the VA here in Minnesota and Minneapolis. It's a really personal issue. And you have my absolute commitment that I will keep working on these issues as long as I am a member of Congress. And with that in mind, I wanted to let you know that I have put forward, Mike, I called Joe Atkins yesterday, I have put forward as my #1 priority in the appropriations process for surface transportation and infrastructure that we fund at the federal level the Dakota County Veterans Memorial Trail. And this is a way that we can honor our veterans and raise awareness of veteran mental health. And just thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning, Josh. So with that, without further ado, I am looking forward to an update on the state of the city of Farmington. Josh Hoyt, Mayor.
Good morning. That's a good lead in there. I appreciate that, very much so. Starting with the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce and Mark Loftus, thank you very much for putting the event on this morning. Obviously, our hearts are continuing to be with Maureen Scallon-Failer for the issues that she's going through, and we wish she could be a part of today, but also wish her a speedy recovery. This presentation is available via live stream through the City of Farmington's Facebook page, our YouTube stream, and also, as mentioned, Charter Spectrum Channel 180. On behalf of the Farmington City Council, I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to all of our attendees and our distinguished guests, and to everyone watching via live stream or broadcast, and to those that were instrumental in putting this presentation together. I'm going to go back through our distinguished guests a little bit here. Congresswoman, very much appreciate your work in the district, specifically the funding through CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan. Direct benefit to our residents, to city, and our ability to continue operations so that residents didn't really see a difference in our operation. We were able to continue in other ways, new protocols, and it wouldn't have been possible without the funding, so we appreciate that. And more specifically, the second round that's coming. Senator Zach Duckworth, where are you at, sir? He just stepped out. Oh, perfect time. I'm going to come back to him. I have a good point for him. Thanks to Representative Pat Garofalo, even though he's not here in attendance, the work representing our residents at the state. Commissioner Slavic, I don't know if there's enough words. Your consistent support of our community, your hard work at the board level to continue to bring dollars into our city. Most notably, up to $230,000 of reimbursement through solid waste. It's a huge impact because we hear it from our residents and we appreciate that work. Also, your board support. We have later on this spring or later on this summer, we have our downtown sidewalk project. We got up to $130,000 there. So again, constantly being a good partner and advocate at the county level, and it can't go understated. We appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Metropolitan Council Member Wendy Wolf, we appreciate your work in the district and look forward to building relationship and continuing the work over the years to come. To our school district superintendent, Jason Berg, appreciate our partnerships. Most recently, our project on 202nd Street and the extension with the city of Lakeville. To board chair, Melissa Saucer, appreciate your partnership and look forward to our joint work session later this year. To city administrator David McKnight, and my peers, Councilmember Burnjum, Councilmember Porter, Councilmember Pearson, and Councilmember Wilson. On behalf of the residents of Farmington, I thank each of you for your dedication to representing our city, our residents, and our interest in your work. A special thank you to the City of Farmington Communications team, Lauren Siebenauer, Tim Klossler, and Network Administrator Peter Gilbertson for your contributions to today's presentation. Now, the State of the City presentation is typically a look back over the previous year and a celebration of the city's progress. Additionally, we will provide insight and information on the work planned for this year. Unfortunately, Mayor Todd Larson was unable to present his final State of the City in 2020. So at this time, I would ask everyone to join me in a round of applause as we thank Mayor Todd Larson for his 20 years of service to our community and the residents he represented during his tenure. If I was Todd, I would drop the Mayor Larson joke right there. And we'll start here. So today's presentation is going to be starting with our historic past and leading into our future. This photo is from pre-1879. Now, in 1872, Farmington was the second community in Dakota County to incorporate and organize a municipal government. Next year, Farmington will celebrate 150 years of incorporation. We look forward to 2022 and celebrating our proud and historic past while looking ahead to our promising future. Here are a few pictures of Farmington through the years and our evolution from a rural railroad community to a thriving suburban city and historic downtown district. 1907, here is an image from 3rd and Oak looking north, and you'll see most of these next slides will all be from a similar perspective. 1928, again on 3rd and Oak looking north. 1950s, 3rd and Elm looking south. 1975, 3rd and Oak looking north. And 2020, 3rd and Spruce looking north. Now, coming into current progress, we're going to go through a little bit of our residential development progress. Up first, you'll see Fairhill Estates. It started in late 2019. This development is located on the southwest corner of Highway 3 and 190th or 195th Street. This is a 224-lot development with various types of home. You have slab-on-grade single-story. You have two-story walkouts, modified 3 stories. This is a great residential development that's going to help the city build out the northeast side. A few pictures there going through the progress to today's date. Coming next, we have Regina Fields, again a development started in 2019. This development exists on the west side of Flagstaff between Highway 50 and the school. This development has 61 lots. Again, most of them are two-story split levels, some with walkouts. Coming soon, we have our Whispering Fields development that's going to fall in between the high school and the Regina development. This new development has 119 lots. Again, all of this is on the west side of Flagstaff. So Commissioner Slavic, you know that we've got some work to do at 50 in Flagstaff, and we look forward to putting that on future capital improvement plans. Sapphire Lake going to East Farmington. Again, starting in 2019, extending into current. Sapphire Lake is 131 lots. Now this development will be pretty notable because it's going to, between the stormwater ponds and the scenery with the wooded areas, it'll provide more of that wildlife, natural, rural feel while still being part of a thriving suburban community. And additional phases for Sapphire Lake extending to the south. Now, going through our historic growth and population projections. This comes from our 2040 comp plan, but I found it important to make sure that we go through this for a number of reasons. This chart is an illustration of our historic growth and population projections from 1970 to 2040, according to the U.S. Census Bureau and Met Council. The chart is significant because it illustrates the exponential growth that Farmington has experienced between 1990 and 2000, when our city nearly doubled in size from 5,900 to just over 12,000. It's important because that provides a great context for those residents who may have moved into our community either during those periods of growth or shortly thereafter. When a city grows this fast over a short period of time, there are significant burdens that get placed on both the municipal services and the infrastructure. That's something that Farmington knows, and we've worked through. We feel like we're on the backside of that, looking forward to our future growth. Some dates and items of interest. In 1998, this is when Pilot Knob was extended from 190th Street down to County Road 50. Now this alleviated a lot of traffic off of Aiken Road. This allowed for additional residential build-out to the south of what is now 190th and Pilot Knob. We come into 2002. This is when the city constructed the maintenance facility in the police department. Again, those residents moving in after 2002 would have thought it had always existed. They didn't know that we had a small police department in City Hall downtown, where now the Rambling River Center sits. Going into 2006, we built Fire Station number 2, again, adjacent to the Municipal Service Center and the police department. In 2008, we constructed a new City Hall, and 195th was extended to become 190th Street into Highway 3. That included a bridge that allowed access over the railroad. Again, for those residents that have moved in here since 2008, it's good to know that that road did not exist prior to that time. 2015, we constructed 4 roundabouts on 195th Street from Flagstaff to Highway 3. What used to be 4-way stops quickly turned into ease of access through all 4 of those intersections at Flagstaff, Pilot Knob, Aiken, and Highway 3. The following are slides of our City of Farmington team member introductions, accompanied by their tenure working in Farmington. We employ 154 full-time and part-time employees and have a combined 1,140 years of tenure just in the City of Farmington. Now that does not include our seasonal workers. Starting with our leadership administration, David McKnight. David has successfully facilitated the ramifications of the pandemic on the organization and our community. Again, going back, as a resident, you would not have noticed any changes because our core service delivery was unchanged. Operations may have changed within City Hall, but from a resident's perspective, they went unchanged. Continuing to work with the transition of the 2021 City Council, having 3 new members and myself being in a new role. That in itself is an instrumental part of our ability to provide service. I apologize, we'll go back. And David continued to work to maintain our positive financial health, including lowering the city tax levy in 2020 and maintaining our AA+ bond rating. You know, David is a lifelong resident of Farmington, and his passion for our community extends well beyond his work at City Hall. David previously served on the City Council and does an outstanding job for our residents. Information technology, or IT. They had quite the year. They migrated city staff to Office 365 so staff could perform their jobs on-site and remotely. We also added server and storage capacity at the police station to provide better performance and disaster recovery within our infrastructure. They implemented Microsoft Teams and the new phone solution, which has saved our residents $20,000 annually. Now, if there was a Department of the Year for 2020, my vote would be for IT. The pandemic increased our need to communicate digitally and also work remotely since March of 2020. And our IT department was front and center the entire time. Our communications team. I'm going to go back here real quick. I apologize. Noting that in our IT department, we have 4 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. Our communications team, 11 combined years of tenure within the city of Farmington. They were awarded for their efforts in rebranding city materials with the new logo. They're also awarded for the water tower reconditioning video, which explained the project and the new look of our tower. They are continuing to capture quality photography and to update our marketing materials. You know, communications goes well beyond social media and our quarterly currents issue. We are continuing to increase our methods and forms of communications with residents. We welcome your feedback and input on how we can best engage our residents. Community development, a combined 67 years of tenure with the city of Farmington. Community development department is comprised of planning and zoning, economic development, building inspections and permits, heritage preservation functions, and code enforcement. Community development coordinated the city's 2020 primary election and presidential general election, the completion and the approval of the 2040 comp plan. The 2040 comp plan is our guiding document for future zoning, uses, overall plan for the city. They started the creation of the Business Retention and Expansion Program to strengthen relationships with Farmington businesses. The Business Retention and Expansion Program is going to be the #1 priority of our Economic Development Authority. It started in late 2019. There were over 200 surveys that were sent out to our business owners. We garnered 50 responses. The input from our business owners is invaluable because it's going to guide us in developing a strategic plan to effectively reach all of our businesses individually in ways that are most beneficial to them. Now, in those 50 responses we received, 43 of the businesses have a tenure in Farmington of 10 years or more. So that just goes to show that our businesses that come to Farmington will stay in Farmington, and there's a high percentage of them that do that. Going into our permits issued for existing homes. Don't want you to get buried too much in the graphic here, but points of emphasis are your purple and red colors. So we started in last August, and we look at August 2020 through current day, red being in 21. Don't have to know the numbers to know that any time there's a big difference in colors, there's growth. We go into our construction permit income by month. Notable points here. 8 out of our last 10 months have had their single highest monthly revenue since 2017. 8 out of 10. And most notably, March of 21, this year was our highest month of revenue in 10 years. Again, signs of growth, as the Congresswoman stated earlier. It's a growing pain, but it's one that we're working through and we're figuring out. Going into our fire rescue, we'll start with our command staff. Just within our command staff, we have 102 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. Fire rescue hired a full-time deputy fire chief to lead in fire prevention programs, including proactive annual fire and life safety inspections in all of our commercial and multifamily residential building. We've increased our duty crew hours to improve firefighter training, increased our equipment usage and maintenance to decrease response times. Now, fire rescue or fire department was one specific example of how COVID made a department more efficient. Where we used to have combined trainings on Monday evenings, because of COVID restrictions, they were spread out during the week. More in-person contact, more effective training methods. Overall, it was an efficiency that was gained in a time when things were different. Additional fire rescue, we have over 50 paid on-call firefighters. These are our brave men and women that respond to our calls within our community and our surrounding townships. We thank each and every one of them for their service. Earlier this year, my peers and Councilmember Pearson, Benjamin Porter were part of the first Farmington Women's Recruitment Event, and that was held at Fire Station #1. That was significant as a council that has 3 woman members to have a woman-centered recruitment event, just a sign of things changing, all positive for our community. And coming soon, Ladder 1. This truck was in Burnsville the other day. We should have it here within the week, I would assume. 107 foot, I believe. Again, you look at a ladder truck, people first think, we've got an option to take cats out of trees. It's not what it's there for. Aerial suppression is the #1 reason for ladder trucks. That'll allow us to, I believe last year we had 12 calls. Most recently, just in the last week, we had another call where we had mutual aid in a ladder truck. This is going to reduce the response time of getting a ladder truck on scene, because as every firefighter will tell you, the #1 thing is getting water onto our fire. So this is a huge investment for the residents, but it's going to pay its dividends over time. We look forward to its arrival. Our finance department, 54 years of combined tenure within the city of Farmington. Most notably, the successful bond sale for Ladder 1 in 2020 reaffirmed the city's AA+ S&P credit rating. Now, I was informed that there are 325 agencies under the S&P, and only 41 of them have the AA+. Congratulations to our department. Additionally, they were awarded the Certificate of Excellence, or the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 11th consecutive year for our city's 2019 annual report that was published in January of 21. The same is anticipated for our 2020 annual report, which we should receive in May. Now, within the prestigious national award that is, in our 11th consecutive year, there are over 900 agencies in the state of Minnesota. Only 140 of them have received this award, and we've done it 11 years in a row. So congratulations to all of our team. Human Resources, combined 20 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. They've revamped the city's medical benefits, which saved our taxpayers $200,000. They implemented a new wellness portal and benefits including incentives for our employees, and they transitioned to virtual hiring to continue our recruiting during the pandemic. Our liquor operations, 46 years of combined tenure with the city of Farmington. Since 2005, Farmington Liquors has reinvested $1.56 million back into Farmington that otherwise would have been part of the tax levy. Huge improvements last year to the Schmitz-Mackey Arena. We'll go through that with Parks and Rec. One change coming here. We're gonna go through a video of our liquor operations. We'll start with our Pilot Knob store, which is currently our flagship store. We have our highest rate of sales there going into our downtown location. And later this year, specifically in July, we'll be moving our downtown store to the Farmington Mall on Highway 3. Now, this is a great move, and we are really excited because this is going to not only significantly increase our square footage over the downtown location, but it's also going to reduce our monthly rent expense, and it should result in more traffic to the store. I know council is excited about that move, and that's a big deal for our residents. Moving on into our Park and Recreation Department. Not counting our seasonal workers, we have 129 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. I'm going to make one standout here for Dan Thielbar, 1987, our most tenured employee at the city of Farmington, 1987. Significant because Dan started with us, and also because the Twins won their first World Series. The Park and Rec Department encompasses the Rambling River Center as well. A lot of our youth programming, things that are done in conjunction with community ed in the schools. Notes of achievement in the last 2 years, the constructions of improvements in the Prairie Pines Park and the Marigold Park. As mentioned with the liquor store profits, we had arena improvements, which include the replacement of all the rubber flooring, installation of a new condenser, an oil separator, new floor scrubber purchase, and our compressor overhaul and relief valve replacement. We will have a new Park and Rec director starting here shortly. They'll come in around the end of May. Kelly Omlid will be joining us, and we look forward to her being a part of the team. Most notably because our current Park and Rec director, Randy Disted, will be retiring. Tomorrow will be Randy's last day. After receiving recommendation from both the Park and Rec Commission and also with City Council approval, on April 19th, we renamed North Creek Park to Disted Park and Greenway. Randy, thank you very much for your service to our residents and our community and your lasting impact that you have made on everyone. Going into our police department has 360 years of tenure with the city of Farmington. Farmington has made the top 10 list of Minnesota's safest cities since 2014. Each one of our officers completes over 100 hours of training per officer. That's equivalent to approximately 3,000 hours of training department-wide. Now, from calendar year July 2019 to June 2020, the city of Farmington and its residents invested $161,000 in training. Only $30,000 of that was mandated. So that is credit to our leadership to recognize that there is more that we can do. It starts with training, and we've invested a significant sum over time to make sure that our officers are well-versed in all areas. Some of those areas of training include the use of force, hazmat, respiratory, hearing conservation, bloodborne pathogen, employee right to know, crisis intervention, de-escalation methods, mental illness response, implicit bias, and supervisory and leadership training. Another notable point for our police department is that they participate in a lot of community outreach events. They participate in events like the Farmington Expo, Safe Seniors presentations, Coffee with a Cop, Citizens Police Academy, Police Week Open House, National Night Out, and the Pink Patch Project. Toys for Town is a program that last year we were able to serve 130 local families with a total of 400 children. We raised over $31,000. This is one of the events and the programs in our community that hits me personally. As a child, I was a recipient of a similar program, and to watch what that does for our community and the reach is there are no words to describe it. It is absolutely amazing. We will have our police open house this Saturday, not this Saturday, but Saturday, May 15th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They will be accepting donations for the Farmington Food Shelf. Bourbon Butcher will also be selling food with proceeds benefiting the food shelf. Our Public Works, 259 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. Public Works encompasses solid waste, streets and maintenance, and engineering. Here we have this is our solid waste team. We have collected 8,668 tons of trash last year, collected over 1,900 tons of recycling, and collected 948 tons of cardboard, which is 370 more tons than 2019. That's where I don't insert the Amazon joke. Also our streets and maintenance, 17 plowing events from January 2020 to December of 2020. They had over 1,000 tons of ice control material that was used and 190 tons of blacktop that was used to repair our roads. Engineering, 78 years of tenure within the city of Farmington. They coordinated with MnDOT, Empire Township, and the county, and Dakota County, on our Highway 3 County Road 66 roundabout project and the trail project that'll start later this year and should finish in 2022. Preparing for other capital projects including a new water tower, reconstruction of Spruce Street, and reconstruction of Willow and Linden Streets in 2022. Developing our downtown sidewalk, again in conjunction with the county. We appreciate you for your support. Construction will start later this year. To my council peers. Councilmember Katie Burnham first started serving in 2017, Councilmember Pearson in 21, Councilmember Wilson previously from 2005 to 2010 and 2021 to current, and Councilmember Porter 2021 to current. You know, this council is a collaborative group. We work it very effectively and we're always representing varying viewpoints. I know that the tone of council is one that's carried down through staff and ultimately felt by the residents. Having previously served for 2 years, taking nothing away from my previous peers, this council is different. Our level of engagement and our intentions are different. And we understand that there's work to be done for our residents, and it's not something that we're going to shy away from. And I believe that that's something that's felt all the way through our organization, and most importantly through our residents. I could be more excited to work and more proud to work with this group of people. So I appreciate you and also your attendance today. Going through our council priorities. Now this was a big deal for us. As a congresswoman said earlier, Farmington is in a rapid growth period of time. We're reaching some constraints that didn't exist in years past. So when we sat down and we went through our priorities, it was important that we kept them very lean, very intentional, but we also got into the meat on the bone. When you look at our business growth, pretty obvious. We all want business growth, helping provide more amenities and residents while at the same time diversifying our tax base. So how are we going to do that? We're developing a community team input approach on economic development. Part of that will be through our business retention and expansion program, having current touch points with all of our businesses in 2021, getting out, getting in front of our business owners and engaging them, letting them know that we appreciate them choosing Farmington and finding ways for us to support them in both their expansion, their growth, and or redevelopment. It's also to identify and remove barriers to new development. That starts with engagement with our landowners, understanding what their plans are going forward, making sure that those plans align with what city plans are for financial, capital improvement. If they're out of alignment, we need to get in alignment and get on the same page. We need to understand what they are looking to do. That's a huge part that we're going to start this year. Our community outreach, community engagement. It's engaging our residents to gather input, providing updates, and to work to encourage a positive promotion of our community. You'll see some questionnaires coming out via the school district and later on through the Park and Rec Commission, the city. We're looking at a potential 2022 park project ballot question. It's something that we have to look as our community grows. City council improvement with city, county, regional boards and committees. Regularly sharing and providing updates on our council priorities. And again, the enhancement and the integration of new city council outreach events. And last, our infrastructure support. We need to work to proactively improve and maintain the infrastructure systems throughout our community. Going back to that community that has grown over the years, there are needs that exist. It all requires funding. It has to be paid by someone. Our residents have bared the burden of higher taxes for too long. We are going to continue to rely and work diligently with our community partners, our state level partners, and our federal partners in any ways that we can drive direct dollars to benefit our residents. We need to develop a dedicated financial benchmark for capital replacements in our annual budget. We need to develop dedicated financial benchmarks for infrastructure support and facilities within our budget. And we need to develop future staffing plan for inclusion in annual budget and financial plan. Our city is going to continue to grow. We have a lot of employees, but as our core service delivery increases, personnel needs will increase with it as well. A special thank you to our boards and commissions, each one of them that support a specific department. These are residents that step forward to better their community in various ways. We appreciate their passion, their willingness to be problem solvers and work with our residents. Every year we have more and more applicants. It's a great problem to have more applicants than you have positions to fill. That tells us that people are wanting to get involved, and that's where it starts with our resident involvement. Now, mind you that we are covering 2 years here, as the 2020 State of the City didn't happen, so there are some 2019s in here. We're going to cover the last half of that year. There are several businesses to note here, so some of them may not be depicted in our pictures. But we have our Chill Ice Cream Studio and Arcade, the Trinity Care Center Expansion and Memory Care Unit, Spruce Valley Payroll, Wild Fig Marketing, Solis Technology Solutions, Hale Nutrition, the Holiday Station Store, Main Street Day Spa, Stephen Cocciarelli's Farmers Insurance Agency. Now these are businesses and or organizations that were new, moved, or expanded. We have Homestead Community Church, the Farmtown Brew Hall, Easy Auto, Cornerstone Preschool and Child Care, Bethel's Rock, which I'm going to make a special drop on Bethel's Rock here for a second. We had our Muddy Bunny 5K a few weeks ago. Their goal was to raise $5,000 for the Rambling River Center due to their reduced efforts in fundraising methods. The net was $10,000. So Bethel's Rock was instrumental in an event that generated $10,000 for our Rambling River Center community. Huge thank you to every part of that organization and that group. That's a great give back to our community, and we appreciate it. We have Impact Auto, relocation to the old Pedersen Auto location, and also an expansion there. Lynn's Carpet. Lynn's Carpet has moved from the south side of the building to the north side of the building, and that was due to the expansion of the Cornerstone Preschool and Child Care. We also have Living Hope Christian Family Church and our Hilltop Apartments. The Hilltop Apartments will be east of Round Bank. That's another project that's going to get going this year. So that's a little bit going through what we've done, where we're going, our vision. I hope that provides some good insight and context for those in attendance and those watching. Apologize, it's a little dry. A couple points to note here. Vermilion River Crossing, we hear the conversation a lot. All the lots are sold. Hy-Vee, Border Foods, Just for Kicks, and Aldi's. They own the property. They own the land. We're in constant communication. We're reaching out. We're engaging. We want information as much as our residents do. We want it yesterday. We want to know what that looks like. It's on their terms. There's nothing I can do, anyone else can do. Those businesses are going to make that decision when they're ready. And when they're ready, it's our job to get out of their way and allow them to build as quickly as they can. Don't forget that just before COVID started, early March, the Just for Kicks dance studio, final approval, permit issued, construction equipment on site, and COVID happened. Completely changed their business model. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know that we're here to support them when they're ready. When we look over Farmington and we think about the last 150 years, our seal for the longest time was proud past and promising future. You can have both. You can be a growing, thriving community and still honor the historic past that is the city of Farmington. It does exist. So I'm going to go through a little bit talking about some past context and some current context. Here you'll find both the previous city logo or seal and our new logo design. You know, our world and our nation are rapidly changing, and so is the city of Farmington. Our small, rural agricultural community is quickly transforming into a thriving suburban community. We will honor our past, we will honor our history and our story, regardless how many residents we have. Over the past 12 months, we have experienced many firsts, some uncomfortable, even scary, but we've also experienced many amazing things. We first experienced a stay-in-place order. Our businesses were ordered to close or modify operations. Our schools sent students home for distance learning. They were prepared. The heavily criticized iPad model quickly became the go-to. Perspective. Many residents found themselves working from makeshift home offices, and web conferencing became the new norm. Most of us had to make a quick transition to accommodate COVID protocols. We quickly unwound thousands of years of history of the handshake. We resisted the urge to hug one another, and we spoke to our most vulnerable, either via phone, from the curb, or through windows. Our grandparents were separated from their loved ones, some of them for the first time in their lives. Several of our residents were unemployed or furloughed, and there was no certainty as to for how long. Our worlds were turned upside down, inside out, and we all had unanswered questions. As we approached the 60-day mark, the death of George Floyd sent many cities into civil unrest, which quickly spread nationwide. Our residents and business owners were not immune from the events that were taking place a mere 30 minutes from here. Our small, quiet community even had questions. Our residents worked in Minneapolis. They had family in nearby affected areas. It felt as if everyone had a connection to what was happening. Days turned into weeks, and with every passing day, we found ourselves more separated, more distanced, and out of touch with those closest to us. Eventually, businesses started to reopen. We increased our capacity, got back into school. Some of our workers returned to their places of employment. Our schools returned to a modified learning model, uncomfortable, but sufficient compared to the alternatives. We are learning to fly, we are learning on the fly. We are adapting and improvising with only the information that we had in front of us. As spring approached, our vaccination distribution increased. We started to spend more time outdoors. And we started to engage our neighbors and families in ways we hadn't for almost a year. Normalcy is finally being restored. So what did we learn? We learned a lot. We learned about the importance of cleanliness and higher standards. We learned about safety protocols and preparedness. We learned the significance of our critical sectors. We will never look at our delivery drivers, our suppliers, our teachers, our medical professionals, or our public safety professionals the same way ever again. 2020 taught us that there's two perspectives, ours and that of another. Isolation and restrictions tested our patience and the importance of grace. First and above all, we're human beings. We experience the feelings of love, anger, excitement, resentment, apprehension, courage, and fear. Over the past year, we have seen examples of each of these in our community. Community leaders organized the citywide food distribution. In 4 days, they accomplished what took other communities weeks to put together. We saw many examples of residents and business owners rushing to the needs of others. Fundraisers for local restaurants, residents giving other residents rides to grocery stores, gift card drives, community cleanup efforts, community-wide free meals. That list goes on and on and on. Our pride in community and selfless acts for others is not new to Farmington. That's one of our greatest traits. Unfortunately, it sometimes gets lost in the noise. Too often we hear what's not happening instead of focusing on what is. We hear what we don't have instead of celebrating what we do. You know what our greatest asset is in Farmington? It's our people, all of them. So here's some perspective for you. Farmington, we're an amazing community. We're a community full of history, culture, opportunities, amazing residents, and the best business owners you could ask for. When you call for support, we show up for each other. When you are in need, we find ways to provide. When you seek comfort or protection, we stand with you. Don't demand change, be the change. Take action. Show up, get involved, over and over and over again. Getting attention is easy. You just have to make a little noise. Keeping that attention, that takes real work. City staff, my peers, we're doing the real work. We're doing hard work for the benefit of our residents. Farmington is a community where everyone should feel safe, regardless of your age, your race, your religion, your sex, or your affiliation. If you feel otherwise, call us, engage us, allow us to be part of the solution. Our cops are good cops. Judge their actions by what they do in our community, not what they do in other communities. We all have a story. No two of them are the same. Continue to respect others and respect their views, especially when they differ from yours. Work on yourself first. Be better today than you were yesterday, but be intentional, genuine, and honest. Above all, be a good human being, because good human beings can do great things. So Farmington, we're not perfect. We're not broken. We are, though, stronger together. Thank you.